Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at the brand new Civivi Baby Banter 2. When it comes to the Baby Banter, I absolutely love it. And they've kind of hit every different spot they could. The original one, you have flat G10 scales, liner lock, a deep carry, recessed pocket clip, and it was a reversible on that. Then they came out with a version with contoured scales and even a Wharncliffe blade. Absolutely love this. This is a great utility version. And of course, we can't forget the Baby Banter fixed blade. Just a little cool, little big knife. I do wish they made the handle, a little bit bigger so I could get a full 4-finger grip, but they do have a lanyard on there. These are back in stock, and I will link all the things you see in this video down below in the description. If I remember, I'll even put the Ulti-Clip link if you're interested in one of those. I carry this one quite a bit because it's very easy to carry and it's not going to scare anybody. So, with this new version of the Baby Banter, you have two differences here. You have these nice contour textured aluminum with the drop point, and you have a crossbar lock. You've already had the original with the liner lock. If you don't trust liner locks, the crossbar lock's a stronger lock, in my opinion. So you're gonna have to make that decision toward the end. But I personally like both. I would get them both, but that's just me. So let's check it out. You have an overall length of 5.54 inches. So like I said, it's a little big knife. And I call it a little big knife because I can still get a 4-finger grip because it has that nice forward choil. You got some jimps there to lock you in even nicer. You have jimps up top that grip the finger perfectly. Now they are kind of back here in this pinch grip. I do wish they had a little patch of jimps right here for whenever you're doing those fine detail cuts, because you have a very versatile drop point. It's pretty much a spear point in my opinion, but comes down nice. You can easily get that tip on the thing. So if you want to do those fine intricate cuts, it's going to be very easy with this one, especially doing your in-hand cuts are going to be nice. And even though you have a sharp blade, you should still be able to get a good bit of stuff done, and we'll see that in just a minute. This particular one has a nice satin finish on it. They have other variations than this one. You can get it with these textured aluminum scales. You can get it in micarta. That's going to be the cheapest one in micarta. And with this one, you have a 2.34-inch drop point blade, like I said earlier, and the blade steel on this one is Nitro V stainless steel. You have the "What is up, guys" logo there because this is a Ben Peterson design of knives. It's a great fifth pocket carry knife, arguably maybe one of the best fifth pocket carry knives for your money. It rivals only one other one in my opinion, and maybe we'll talk about that toward the end. So you have a pretty decent height, flat grind that comes down nice and thin. Civivi's great at giving us those thin grinds. Comes down to 13 thousandths behind the edge, so it should be a good slicer. Let's find out what this compact knife can do. When it comes to knives like the Baby Banter, especially these little big knives where I can still get a 4-finger grip on them, I like them a lot. It fit perfect in a fifth pocket, and Civivi did a great job with this one. It's got a very slicey blade, and as you will see, the further we get down here, you can do just about anything with them. Now, of course, being that it's such a small cutting edge, your edge is going to get dull quicker. It's in Nitro V, which is a good, budget in steel, depending, can even be a good premium steel if it's heat treated high enough. But, it should be able to get all your jobs done. If you need to do feather sticks like this. Okay, now one thing I did notice, right now it's perfect. Fine. You'll see me start to adjust my hands in a second. I'm going to tell you why. When I start to, there you go. When I start to bear down, the only issue I see if you're planning on doing harder cuts, which it's the Baby Banter, does that really matter? I noticed that the crossbar lock buttons were digging into my hand and it was hurting. So I never plan on using this knife, to that extent anyway. So that's not really something that's gonna bother me. I'm usually gonna use this in a pinch grip. And we had a snow day here in Louisiana. It snowed. Record-breaking snow fell yesterday all day long, and last time I saw snow here in Louisiana was 7 years ago when we had like 3 inches. Yesterday we had 9, so I was pretty mind blown. And I had this Baby Banter on me because I was doing stuff outside with my neighbors earlier in the day, And, you know, most of the guys, none of the guys in my neighborhood care what kind of knife I pull out of my pocket. They usually want to know what it is so they can get one. But a lot of the females, you know, they can get scared by, you know, any of the bigger knives. Anything with the 3-inch and over blades I found. So pulling out this Baby Banter earlier in the day, none of them freaked out. We were making snowmen, and in the beginning of the day, I used the Baby Banter to cut up some carrots, and then toward the end of the day when I was with the guys, I had I think the Kaiser Drop Bear on me, and LC200N, and Quiet Carry Waypoint. With the Baby Banter, I love how I can get right down at the end of that tip if I want to. If I need to really control it, I'm doing that here. You can make those very fine precision cuts, and you should be able to get most of your day-to-day EDC task, unless you work in an industrial environment or you heavy tools and stuff like that, and you need something bigger. You know, of course, this probably wouldn't be the right one for you, but one to put in your fist pocket as a backup knife, or you're going somewhere where they might not like knives, this is perfect. So yeah, I would definitely say it was able to handle everything very, very easily. We'll touch on the ergos real quick. For everything I did, you know, in the hammer grip and in the pinch grip, pointer finger grip, all those were comfortable. If you want to do this reverse grip, you could do that. I don't recommend doing this, but I can do it, being that I can put my finger in that choil. Maybe if you had to stick it into a log to do some feather sticks, you could do that. I think it's a very capable blade. Now, would you want to do something that you would rather have a big knife for? No. But if you didn't want to scare anybody, or if you had to do a quick cut, this is perfect for that. Something I touched on during the testing, whenever I was doing the hammer grip in the wood and I was really bearing down just to try to see if I had any hot spots on the knife, the only thing I noticed is that the button right here on the crossbar lock, you know, they gave a good texture so you don't slip off of it when you're trying to disengage it. But that same texture, whenever I'm really bearing down, was pretty uncomfortable right here. Now, you know, that's not a big deal to me because I'm not using this knife for that kind of stuff. This is for my light duty EDC things. You know, get into a package, open up a letter, cut some string, get some clamshell package open. That's what this is for. It's not to baton. It's not to, you know, do those things. Can you do them? Yes. And I think you can do them long enough to where you're not gonna be like, oh, this is terrible. And it may not bother you at all, but just something I want to note that I did feel that whenever I was putting a good bit of force into the wood. Other than that, these contoured scales felt great. The texture on the aluminum gives you just the right amount of grip without being uncomfortable. And that forward finger choil really locks you in because those jumps right there and those jumps right there if you want to choke back. But here in the saber grips, probably where I would be, or in the hammer grip for me is the most comfortable. You do have a lanyard hole, so if you need to grab a hold of something back here, if you had large, extra large hands, you could put that as well. Now, the action on this one is good. You have dual thumb studs that are accessible on both sides. Being that you have a reversible clip and you have a ambidextrous lock, this knife is completely ambidextrous. You can reverse flick it easily. Those thumb studs are comfortable. I can thumb flick it. I can use the crossbar to open it up. I can slow roll it easily. If I wanted to, I can maybe pinch the blade, but I don't have enough to really hold on to there. But yeah, all those are easy. It is riding on ceramic cage ball bearings, giving it that nice and smooth action. The tension on the Omega springs for me on the Baby Banter are a lot better than the Yonder were for me, which I think that was their first knife with the crossbar lock. This one is tuned perfectly. I have just the right amount of tension to get this one out nice and fast. I bet you after I clean this one up, put my own lube in there, I bet you it's even smoother than it is right now. And I find it to be perfect the way it is, so I didn't touch it. Well, being that blue's my favorite color, I'm glad they sent me this one. Look at that texturing on the aluminum scales. It's like a hard anodization. Then we'll stop right here. Look how crisp that Torx head is right there. I love seeing that. That's Torx T8 right there. Unfortunately, you have a T6 right there, but that's not really that big of a deal. You don't have to mess with that one if you don't want to. And your filler tab right there isn't flush, but you can see they even put a bevel going around there to give it a nice smooth feeling to the touch. Excellent job there. Your pivot is flush with the scales. As you can see there, you have the Civivi branded logo. And on this side, you have your inset clip with countersunk screws, so nothing will catch on your pants pocket or the lips of your pants. and you have good tension right there. One thing that you will have to note though, that you don't have a flat spot underneath that pocket clip. It's not that aggressive. I don't think you ever have to worry about this. I always drop this in my 5th pocket or clip it to that anyway. So to me, it's never really going to give me any troubles. This one has an aluminum backspacer that comes up about 1/4 the weight. Like I said, it is reversible. Carries very, you forget this one's in the pocket. I mean, it doesn't weigh a whole lot. They do have inset stainless steel liners, as you can see there, but they've been so heavily pocketed out. And if you look good, you can see even the aluminum's pocketed out all the way through and through like that. So they brought the weight down as much as they possibly could. Probably could have shaved off even more weight by putting just a stainless steel plate right here that housed this axis lock. The axis lock isn't adjustable on this one. I do wish that Civivi would start doing that to their knives. But with the contouring, all the external milling, and all that inside milling brings the weight to 2.29 ounces. Yeah, like I said, I always forgot this is even in the pocket. Yesterday, totally did not even realize it was in there. When it comes to the lockup on this one, I gotta say, the crossbar lock paired with these aluminum scales and those liners, this thing, you can't, I mean, I'm not even flexing any side to side or up and down. Very, very tight lockup. You know, a lot of crossbar locks, if the geometry is not perfect, you'll have a little bit of up and down play. You know, it's not hurting anything, but it's just that bar sliding on the tang right there. This one, rock solid. The liner lock. My liner lock, I can kind of flex from side to side a little bitty bit, but no up and down. Civivi usually does a fantastic job with the geometry on their lock faces, so that's not surprising at all. Now for some size comparisons, it's very similar to the Kaiser Banish, and it's a little bit bigger than the ProTech Ron 5. Next, it's a little smaller than the off-grid knives, the Baby Rhino, and it's identical in length to the Vosteed Raccoon Cub. Those two rival the #1 best 5th pocket carry knife in my opinion. And it's very similar in length to the QSP Mini Penguin, and it's a little bigger than the CGRB Mini Pyrite. And lastly, it's just about identical in length to the Emerson Junebug and the Devo Knives Nip Slip. Now for my nitpicks and complaints, maybe on the top portion of these, maybe make them a little bit less aggressive or maybe a little bit more recessed. But you don't want to make them too recessed. You want to be able to grab a hold of something. So that's very minor because I don't think this knife is intended to do hard, heavy cuts. They did everything else pretty dang good. They made sure they had the reversible clip. It's inset into the frame. Maybe have T8 screws for the pocket clip as well, but that's very, very minor. It's not hurting anything anyway. And that'd be cool if they had the adjustable, kind of like Kaiser's clutch lock. You see a bunch of companies using that, or come up with some way to do it different. That's always a nice thing, just in case you want more tension or less tension. But being that they don't have it, I think they did a fantastic job dialing it perfectly for the Baby Banter 2. So like I said, when it comes to the Baby Banter in general, I love it. I love the warranty for utility tasks. I love the drop points for having a good little big knife that's not going to scare the sheeple. And of course, a fixed blade, super cool because less moving parts, it's still comfortable, and I can still get a good bit done with this one also. And this one comes with a nice full flat grind, so it's even thinner than these, so it's sliced even better. Now, as far as the Baby Banter 2, you know, if you're trying to decide if you need one and you have these, I personally would, because I like it enough. I like the fact that you have the contouring for the drop point. The aluminum scales have the perfect amount of texture. I might even get the micarta variant. I think it has the same texture. If it does, I probably will get that one. It would make it a little bit lighter, and it'd be very, very grippy because of the micarta. I think it's a good looking knife. It's a useful knife. And if you like 5th pocket carry, you know, for the money, this one and the Vosteed Raccoon Cub are my #1 favorites. And let me know in the comments what's your all-time favorite 5th pocket carry knife in this price point or in any price point. What are your thoughts on the new Baby Banter 2? Do you like it? Do you think you need to add it to your collection? If so, I will have it linked down below in the description. I'll probably have all these linked if they are available in one link. So if you're interested in that, you can use my links that help support the channel. If not, no big deal. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave those down below. I hope every one of y'all is having an absolute amazing day. And if the snow's not melted, I'm going to play around with my daughter some more. We built the snowman. Maybe we'll do a second one. All right, guys and girls, I hope y'all are doing great. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.